Good morning.
Brother, good morning. Friends, Eric Andreas, your guitar stage here with RJ Ronquillo, the baddest ass guitar player I know. You really are amazing.
You're too kind.
I love your tone, I love your phrasing and everything, so that's not a mystery.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to be grabbing some questions or grabbing some answers from RJ today. It's the RJ show today.
Hey.
Really. You hear me jib-jab all day, so now is the time to get questions answered from RJ. So what is the date? It's the 11th. Welcome to the Guitar Show. This is where you get your questions answered in real time. We're going to start off with our little greeting and our check-in. And then we're going to be getting to some specific questions. We got lots of really cool stuff lined up for you today. So number one, we do this every week, and it's really important, that when I see the chat Slack, that's when I start giving stuff away to prompt kids to respond, Hey. So first off, how much have you practiced this week? What skills are you currently working on? What are you drawing inspiration from this week? And what are your short-term goals? I ask these questions, because it allows me to, number one, know where you're at, and then two, also so you know where you're at, okay? And we can kind of guide a little bit here, okay? Cool. RJ.
Yeah.
Dude, you just got back from the NAMM show.
Yeah?
Yeah. All sorts of really cool stuff there. Lots of things happening for you, man.
So exciting every year.
You got a new guitar.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was last year.
Well, I know it still just feels so
I got a couple
fresh.
new guitars in the past couple weeks.
And now I'm just noticing with your pedal that you went with, those LEDs are gorgeous.
Pinks, yeah.
They're absolutely gorgeous. So you've got a new pedal.
Yeah, should I unplug it and show everyone?
Well, I think do we have a picture? If we don't, that's okay. I don't think we have a picture for that. But nonetheless.
They've seen it.
Nonetheless, yeah, go ahead and show it to them.
Okay.
It's so badass.
It's a fun one.
So you guys might have seen this pedal on RJ's show, but nonetheless, can you tell us a little bit about this unique boutique pedal?
So it's built by my friend Zach at Mythos Pedals, who's here in Nashville, Tennessee, right down the road actually. Mm-hmm. And my idea for this pedal was, I actually came up with the name first, which Sous Mario is a very typical Filipino expression. It's a typical Filipino expression that a lot of parents use, a lot of people use to just shout.
Jeez.
And it's an exclamation. So it's a contraction of three words, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. So it's Sous from Jesus, Mary, obviously, and the Osip.
I love that.
So Sous Mario is like saying, God dang it, or Jesus, Mary, Joseph,
right, Yeah.
So we say it a lot. So since it's a contraction of three words, I wanted to put three effects in it.
Yeah.
So originally the idea was two effects, an overdrive and a slap echo. Mm-hmm. So when I wanted to add a third effect, I said, well, maybe a boost would be great before the overdrive, because that's how I like to use my pedals, is I'll put an extra gain stage by boosting the main overdrive circuit. So the overdrive is kind of like the central part of the
you
pedal.
use it more for changing your tone than you
Yeah.
do just volume.
Although it does act as a volume
Sure.
boost depending on where your amp is set.
Yeah.
But it'll give you a little more saturation, a little more sustain. And then the slap echo is just that. It's a slap. It was designed to be like a slap kind of rockabilly echo, which I use all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you just heard it.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to go to that Pink Floyd route and get, it has up to 450 milliseconds of delay,
Okay, so
which
that's
is a
a good
decent
amount,
amount
yeah.
of time.
Half,
But you can-
half a second is what we're
you
talking
can
about there.
adjust. So the main slider is just the mix, but there's trim pots on the side, so you can adjust the repeats and the time.
Nice.
So if you wanted to set it for something other than slap delay,
Yeah.
you could. But I like to use it as a slap delay, pretty basic. So set
Yeah.
it and forget it.
Yeah.
And it's still taking pre-orders right now on the website. I think there's a link in the description.
Yes. Yeah.
that
We do
put.
have that link in there.
Yeah, and I'm excited. We're
So when will these be ready?
hopefully sometime in March. You know,
Okay.
there's the parts were delayed. A lot of the parts were delayed for a lot of companies because of the coronavirus in China. So a lot of parts coming from China, PC
Yeah.
boards, whatever, were delayed. So they're just coming in now.
Yeah.
So,
So like, they just letting a little cold get to them, or
yeah,
what's
you know,
going on there?
You can just wipe it down. That's fine. Good
Jeez.
to go.
It's a little out of control over there. Yeah.
I know, it's crazy.
Boy, oh boy. That is, and you just heard the pedal just now as RJ was playing it, so very cool. I love that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
So lots of things. I had so much FOMO watching you guys at the NAMM show. Oh, that's good. That's fine. I had so much
I know you
FOMO
didn't
watching
go.
you. I know. We just hired. I mean, M and Josh here. So we were training and we were doing all sorts of stuff here. So
Well, you have
it was-
Summer NAMM.
Summer NAMM, we're definitely going to do that, yes. But I saw you at like every booth. You were rocking out. You were being interviewed. You were interviewing freaking Steve Vai.
Oh,
Tell
yeah.
me about this.
So there was an event before the NAMM show, kind
Yeah.
of a couple days before, that Boutique Amps Distribution. It's
Uh-huh.
a company that is kind of the umbrella company over Friedman, Morgan, Wampler, a bunch of companies,
Right.
Tone King, Soldano. So they have a facility right outside of downtown LA, and we had a day, we meaning a bunch of YouTube people,
Yeah.
had a day to make video content, not only with like the builders, like
Right.
Dave Friedman and Joe Morgan
Yeah.
and everything, but they surprised us a couple days prior saying, hey, Steve is coming in to do a video on his Synergy module stuff.
Right.
And if you guys want to spend 10 minutes with him and do whatever you want, ask him whatever you want, you can. So we're like, everyone's like, yeah. So everyone got a chance to
Okay.
interview him and talk to him or would do whatever. So there's
Yeah.
some great videos
Yeah.
right now on YouTube with Steve Vai. But yeah, I got 10 minutes, maybe a little more,
Yeah.
with Steve,
Wow.
and I got to ask him like one question, and he kind of took it, and
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yeah. That's crazy. Being in the presence of
Yeah.
of that guy who's. I
and
mean,
he's one guy I have
what
never,
a great player.
I never met him
Yeah.
ever.
He's actually a really diverse player too. Like, if you listen to, I mean, anything. I mean, even the stuff that he did with David Lee Roth. I mean, a lot of people think of that stuff as like Van Halen Part 2 or whatever. But like the
No.
parts he was playing in there,
Sure.
just kind of jazzy and
He's got his style, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, even when he joined Whitesnake for that one album, or whatever,
yeah.
I mean,
I
his
think you just say
solos
1
were
hour.
so
Yeah, I felt like 1 hour.
his solos were so Steve Vai.
Oh
It was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Yeah, amazing player. Lord XS, we just had a donation. Welcome back,
Hey.
RJ. Thank you here. And the crew at YGS for all the help you've given us. We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great guitar day, Lord XS. Thank you very much. He's always donating, which is really nice because we're going to be all going to lunch today. And RJ, are you joining us?
Sure.
Yeah, come on. Let's do it. So, if you want to buy RJ a burrito, then you know what to do. Right to the bottom left there. Next to the smiley face, you're going to see a little dollar sign. You can click on that and you can donate. Would be really cool. Thank you. So, I watched you on that interview and I was like, what is going through his mind right now, probably Crossroads and just like everything. I mean, you grew
I
up
consider-
watching him, right?
I considered asking him something about the movie.
Yeah.
But I'm like, nah.
No, that was probably a good call. I think a lot of people, when they meet celebrities, especially like in our world, right, of that size, you go to like those things, and it's the things that everybody else does too. So no, you did really well. I thought I would have fallen
The
apart
funny thing
under that
is,
pressure.
I didn't know what I was going to do until like 5 minutes before I went into the room.
Yeah, you did.
A lot
really-
of us didn't know. I mean, some guys did like live streams.
Yeah.
Some of us, yes, like one of them was like his worst gig experience and everything.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. I forget who did that video. But,
Yeah.
it was a great time.
Yeah.
And then, after that, went to the NAMM show and
I love
had a
it.
blast. And
It seemed like it was a real, like, is it longer than the summer NAMM show?
it's a day longer. It
Okay.
goes Thursday to Sunday.
But you guys all got there early and were doing things.
Yeah, I mean, I got there
Yeah.
the Monday before.
Okay.
So I had the full week.
Nice.
I did a video with Tim Pierce.
That
on
yes,
Tuesday.
that's what. Yep.
Yeah, so after the Steve Vai interview, I went to Tim Pierce's house the next day. and
Nice.
spent some
Swell
time
guy.
with it. Yeah.
He
great
seems
guy.
like a super sweet guy.
really fun video to make. And,
Yeah.
And it's funny because like when I was leaving, since it was the NAMM show and everyone was in town, I was leaving and Rick Beato was walking in.
Okay.
And Justin Guitar.
Okay, sure,
was
yeah.
coming in, so we got to hang out a little bit before I left. and
Beautiful. I love that. So we're going to do something for Summer NAMM. We're going to do something here at the studio where we're going to have folks coming in and out, and I've already talked to Justin and talked to Marty. We'll have to get some times nailed down, but I'd love to
Let's
have
do
you.
it.
Yeah, so we're going to just have stuff going on here, doing live like every day and, showing folks new products and all the rest. So dude, so you've done studio work, you've done lots of touring with all sorts of folks. Stone Sour, you've done stuff with Ricky Martin, Thompson Squared. Who else? Who else am I missing? I know a lot of folks you've played with, but like those are some of the bigger names.
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder did something with Stevie. So you've done all this live stuff, and I've had a chance to see you perform live, at least on video live, and you just really control the stage, which is awesome. You just wherever you're at, wherever role you take, you own it, which kudos to you.
That's something I had to learn.
Yeah.
Because when I first started touring or playing professionally on stage live, I was so nervous,
Yeah.
and so I would just stand in one place.
I
and
love
not
that you
really-
said that, because folks out there think that they're the only people that are nervous.
No, I still get nervous every
Yeah.
gig or whatever. So, learning to have a personality on stage was something I had to get comfortable with and kind of learn.
Yeah.
So, it's funny if you look at my early videos of me playing like on TV or live, it's just like stone.
Yeah,
Just like-
right. Yeah.
Until different artists or managers would say you got to be more adamant on stage. You got to be more active and
So they would help you with that.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, and you watch other bands and other musicians playing, and you kind of say, okay, so he's doing that, so it's okay to run around or smile once in a while.
Yeah.
or
You have to give
headbang
yourself
or-
permission, because yeah, indeed. You've got to give yourself that permission, because if not, you feel like maybe your ego's taking control or whatever. Like, that's how
Sure.
I would always feel. But people want a show. I always say this. People want you to do well. They want a show. They want you to show off. If you go see Ozzy, or probably not a good example,
Kiss.
but Kiss, or you want to see the blood, you want to see the fire, and you want to see all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun. Otherwise, you're just going to go see, some
Absolutely.
boring artist,
But one thing is also when you're a hired gun or like a sideman musician, you learn your boundaries where
Yes.
like, okay, I don't want to overstep. I don't want
The
to
singer.
be too
Yeah.
animated on stage compared
Yeah.
to the singer, or else
Mhm.
that looks awful too. So
Mhm.
you kind of have to judge based on your environment and who you're playing with,
Right.
how to act on stage. and everything.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's high level performance.
Yeah, I
shit
should write
there.
a book on that.
You should, man. That's super cool, man. That is very cool. So now that you've you've had that world that was very real for you. That's how you were making your money by touring. How long has it been now that you quit Thompson Square?
It was a year in December, so just a
Okay.
little over a year.
Okay.
So last year, 2019, was my full-time YouTuber, guitar personality.
Yeah.
thing. And it was great. Really.
So can you compare? Can you contrast the two?
I get more sleep.
Yep.
It's a lot less stress.
You're eating
and
better
anxiety. Yeah. Well, yeah.
You're a foodie like me.
I am.
Yeah.
And depending on, when you're traveling, depending on where you go, obviously, sometimes it's great, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's awful. Sometimes you're in New York City.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're in, like, bum F
Yeah,
wherever, and
yeah.
there's a
McDonald's,
Subway.
right? Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, people always ask me, do I miss touring?
Mm-hmm.
And I miss the camaraderie, and I miss the playing, the performance aspect.
Yeah.
But it's the traveling and the sleepless nights and the, the bad food choices and whatnot.
I hear that. That's the same thing I hear from every musician on stage. Any touring musician, that's exactly what they say. They say, getting up on stage is the fun part, but then everything else sucks.
Yeah,
where you're
waiting
sleeping.
around.
Yeah.
It takes a toll after a while. I mean, there's some guys that can hack it, for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I kind of wanted to slip out of it earlier than later, just so I could focus on this other thing.
Right.
So I'm totally cool with it, and I would totally go back on the road if the right phone call came.
Yeah.
You know.
I love it. I love it. Brad Miller, just no real question. Just say thanks to you and RJ, all you do for the community. Enjoy lunch. Nice to see RJ got dressed up. Nice, right?
I combed
know.
my hair. I wore like a t-shirt.
It's beautiful. Yeah, you look beautiful today. And you got the contrasting.
I know the
This is-
colors.
yeah, I
the
love it.
serape
Yeah,
thing.
it's beautiful.
Turning over a new leaf for 2020. New year, new me. You know?
Yeah. Do you have some? Are you a New Year's resolution guy? Do you?
No.
No. Yeah. New Year doesn't mean
Sometimes
anything
I'll
to you.
make them and I'll forget about them a week later.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I might have made New Year's resolutions, but
But you don't
remember.
remember them. It's been too long. It's been like
it's
over
already
a month.
February.
That's amazing. So, so this last year for you, right, being off the road and doing the YouTube thing, if you guys haven't checked out RJ's live show, it's really cool. Just, it's fun, dude.
Yeah,
It's-
Saturdays at 11 a.m. No, what time? 9 a.m. Central Time. So
Okay.
I call it Saturday morning coffee Q&A. So a lot of times I just come down in my pajamas. Sometimes I don't even do my hair, coffee, and I try to wake everybody up and
Yeah.
talk and hang out.
Yeah, yeah. If you haven't checked it out, you've got to check it out. And if you're not following RJ's channel, please follow his channel. 10 times the player that I am, probably more than that. So it's true, man. You're an amazing player. When I grow up, I want to play like RJ. All right, so hey, number one, we're going to be getting to some questions here. So just get your questions ready. Yeah, just do that, all right? Also, we're going to do some shout outs right now. We did already a shout out for the pedal, right? And the link for that's in the description of the video, okay? But we did the shout out for that already, and that was a little premature. Sorry. I'm very excited about that pedal. It's cool. But the other thing is, we want to show you another amazing guitar player, a guy that you know, Kirby Kelly. Do you know this guy?
I know the name.
Yeah.
I've never met him.
Guy plays with 2 slides.
Oh, that's how I know him.
He's an absolute beast. So, are we ready with that clip, guys? Yeah. Okay. Check this guy out. Speaking of slide. just pretty badass
Crazy.
player. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, Kirby Kelly, amazing, amazing player. I believe he won the King of the Blues contest for Guitar Center, and I think it was 2012. I think that's how he was discovered. So,
See.
but I haven't heard much from him since then. So, there you go. All right, let's get to some questions. Do we have any questions from the chat here? Let's see. Oh, and also, if I see any responses in regards to what I asked you earlier, I'll be saying those as well, because I want to know, I really do want to know where you're at. And by the way, I would have played some slide today, but my guitar wonked out on me. But any slide that you see me play, which is not a lot, but I literally learned it all from RJ. Because, yeah, seriously, from the course that you did, I didn't know anything about slide before. I tried it before, I just felt lost. But your guidance through that course was amazing. Which, oh, by the way, is the #1 slide guitar course on Udemy.
That's crazy.
That's badass. So check that out. I'm sure we have a link for that in the description of the video. If not, we'll put one. But otherwise, just go to Udemy. Congratulations for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Go to Udemy, type in slide guitar. RJ will pop up to the top because it's the baddest ass
You'll see
course
this.
that's out
Yeah,
there.
you'll see this guitar in the strap
Yeah,
in the thumbnail. So.
exactly. Yeah, amazing. And so you have another course coming out, a follow-up course for
I
this.
do. Brand new slide course coming out. What, next week maybe?
Yeah.
30 essential slide licks.
Which I've seen these, and they're badass as well.
Yeah,
And I'm stealing some of them.
absolutely. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
It's for everyone to take these licks and add them to your bag of tricks or whatever.
Can you expound on the whole idea of stealing licks for a minute? Because I find that the younger the player is, the more they don't understand that this is just it's not stealing, it's part of it's like speaking.
Yeah.
But can you
Exactly.
explain that a little bit in your words?
Well, I mean, I learned how to play guitar by learning songs, learning licks, transcribing, learning solos from tabs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And some people will say, "Oh, why don't you got to develop
your
your
own
own
stuff."
style."
Right.
Well, to develop your own style, you have to learn kind of like you have to have a base
Sure.
to start from. Every musician, every player has a base. You know, Jimi Hendrix got licks from Johnny Guitar Watson or Magic Sam or something. You know, it's like old players.
Yeah.
Clapton got licks from Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters and everything. So you kind of start there.
Yeah.
And what you do with those licks and what you turn them into is kind of how I developed my own style. You know, you take, if I show you a lick that's just like, that's pretty normal, right?
Yeah.
But like another player could learn that lick and play it a certain way, like, you know, just varying the attack, varying the vibrato, sliding up or down or whatever,
Yeah.
and just kind of putting their own stamp on it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I developed, I guess, my style is just taking licks or coming up with licks or hearing licks in my head that I
Yeah.
might have heard someone else play,
Yeah.
and maybe playing it wrong, but that's how I play it,
Yep.
and that turns into my lick
Yeah.
or whatever, or influenced by someone else.
Yeah.
Or just adding a different spin to the lick, like adding extra notes or ending it or starting it a different way. So really that's what learning guitar is all about, is just
Yeah.
kind of being influenced by all these players that we love to listen to.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of taking someone's licks or transcribing a solo and learning it note for note. And memorizing it, because that turns into your vocabulary, and
You're
then
right.
you begin to start speaking it in a different way.
Yeah.
The more you play, and the more you get, the more you advance with your guitar playing.
Yeah, I love that. I have a theory that, by the way, Robert Baker's in the chat.
Hey!
What's up, Robert? Badass player.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, great, tasty player. So, you know, we have to learn a way to speak, you know? And we learn that from our parents, or we learn that on guitar. We learn that from our, you know, the lineage that was before. So, yeah, great stuff. And, you know, I have a theory that the more that you do that, it's almost the better players in town are the guys that listened to all of these different influences. And I find that players where they don't have much to say, they didn't listen to much. The guys that have lots to say listen to a bunch. And I find that theme is through lots of things too. Songwriters will say the same thing. They'll say, if you're not having words come in, words won't come out.
Yeah.
You know, because you need something to inspire you. Like I see that in the comments all the time. Folks are like, you know, what inspires you? Like, how do you get inspired? Well, exactly what RJ's talking about is like picking up these artists who you haven't listened to before, these guitar players, and mimicking them and learning their licks, and then that will become part of you, and then it's impossible to not have your own signature.
Yeah.
You know.
And you don't have to limit yourself to guitar players. I mean,
right,
you can
yeah,
listen
exactly,
to horn
yeah.
players or singers.
Have you gotten into that?
Oh, yeah.
Pull stuff from horn players, yeah.
Yeah, well,
I've
I mean,
heard that.
it's funny because in that Tim Pierce video, one of the things he had mentioned was that I sound, on certain licks that I play, I sound like a clarinet player. What he meant, like,
was he
I
talking
sound
about
like a
slide or
no,
just all?
just a regular kind of
Interesting.
jazzy playing.
Yeah.
So he was saying I was phrasing more like a sax player or a clarinet player, which
Interesting.
I've learned saxophone solos in jazz,
Right.
but subconsciously it's in me.
Right, yes,
But
yeah.
it comes out and I never realize what I'm doing.
That's really interesting. So, you know, if you think about that, a horn player has to breathe.
Exactly.
Whereas a guitar player doesn't have to, and just can play licks all over the place. But I would take that as a compliment, because that means you're thinking about what it is that you're going to do, and then you execute it. And
Yeah, you're right.
sax player, or any horn player has to do that while they're taking their breath in. They're thinking about what it is that they're going to do, and that's naturally how we come up with those phrases. Is we have to breathe. You know, super cool stuff. All right. Let's look for another question in here. What's that?
Some slide questions.
Okay, Dwight's asking, what's the best slide material or brand?
Well, I talk about it a lot. I like glass for the most part for everything that I do. So the brand that I use is Diamond Bottlenecks, and they're in the UK. And I like them because, I don't know if you can see, but they're pretty thick, heavy-walled glass slides. So there's a lot of weight to them, and they have a nice smoothness and a lot of sustain. Sometimes I'll use like a brass slide on acoustic, which has a different tone to it, but it's still heavy. So I prefer the heavier stuff.
Yeah, and you go into that. In fact, you go into that at the beginning of your slide course, right?
How to play slide guitar course is
Yeah.
one of the first chapters is
Yes.
choosing a slide and the differences between materials and sizes and where to put it on which finger to put it on and everything. So
And I think that's one of the first videos too. So if you check his course out, if you check RJ's course on Udemy, one of the first few videos that you'll get for free, actually, he'll deep dive into that, and it's very helpful to understand those concepts. And I want to get back to this question here in just one moment, but I got a little sidetracked there with the licks course, because I was asking you about phrasing and stealing licks and what have you. So these 30 licks are based off, they're slide licks, right? And they're based off of open D tuning.
Open E.
Open E,
Yeah,
okay.
like
And so you kind of go into some of the tricks and what have you, the way that you're thinking about the neck and how to approach it technique-wise, but then also, phrasing-wise and different nuances that you can do, correct?
Yeah, so it's 30 licks, and it starts from kind of like a really basic, fundamental, the stuff that you need to know first.
Yeah.
And then I expand, from this area, the 12th fret area, which a lot of slide players will play in, I expand across the neck towards the end. You're playing licks that cover everything from open all the way up to way high. So we start off really easy and move up from there. There's a lot of good content, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, advanced, there's something for everyone. And like when I had mentioned that it's what you do with the licks that's important.
Yeah.
So even if you're an advanced player, if I show you a simple lick that you're like, oh, I could do that, no problem.
Yeah.
If you take that lick and expand on it with your own personality, I think that's what I feel people should do with the course.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've done, just like you growing up, learning solos and what have you. And I did that with the course too, with your course, listening to those licks, trying to emulate them, and then going, oh, well, that would work here, and I could. And then and then it starts. You kind of forget that you learned a lick. It just becomes part of your everyday vocabulary.
Right. Like I'm giving you licks, but I'm also giving you ideas for you to spark other licks of your own.
Yeah, 100%. Super cool stuff. So that's going to be released soon, and we do have a link for that for early sign up, I believe. Yeah. And what's that?
We put it in the chat.
It's in the chat. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Em. So that'll be in the chat, and as per always, there's probably going to be some free vids to watch with that too, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. All right, so check that out. And also be looking out for that. We'll probably drop in the next week or so, something like that. Okay, beautiful. Rich Myers is saying, RJ, saw you with Tim Pierce. Where did you grab your solo from?
Here and here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
99% of my solos are improvised. So it's all spur of the moment, whatever I feel. I think when we actually filmed that, we took like 5 passes over it.
Yeah.
And I think that the one that he chose was the very first one that I did, the first take or whatever. So I'm not a guitar player that enjoys writing out a solo. Sometimes I will.
Really?
Yeah.
You just prefer to just
it's
improv?
Yeah, I'm not a writer.
That's because you're a better player, dude. I have to write every note out. I have to sit there and go, well, that was a good thing.
See, if I write it out, then I want to
shit.
change it. It's the same thing with songwriting. Like I'm never happy with this line or this thing. Maybe I'll change that. So I'll keep on changing it.
And then it's just never ending.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And so I'll never be happy. Like, or if I record the solo, I'll be like, and listen to it back after it's released, I'll be like, I should have done it this way. I should have done it this way. Whereas like when you improvise, you just put it all out into the world and on the table, and whatever happens, happens. And that's
love that.
Yeah, that's kind of like my motto.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens. Just take it as it is.
Yeah, that's a great philosophy. Yeah, I loved writing solos, like back in the day when I was with a band and we were going into the studio and there had to be a solo that was written, in the 80s, like every single note.
An epic solo.
Not written, but you knew what you were going to do, right? And I just, that was always my favorite part, because I'm like, well, how can I outdo what I did before, and then you come up with this beginning to ending solo, and I was always kind of stick to what I did before then, as opposed to just improvising, because, probably because I grew up listening to that type of stuff as opposed to more improvisational styles of music like blues and jazz. I was more a rock guy,
right? And
so there was a real definitive part that was played,
Yeah, I think they're both two separate skills.
Yes.
That are valuable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think my schooling and my influences in music led me towards the more improvised part.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of great players that can come up with like pre-composed solos and remember them, and they sound great.
I bet you Tim is really good at that.
Oh yeah.
He has to be.
Yeah.
Because that's what
his,
they pay him the big bucks
his,
to do, is to just get in and get out. And yeah. John Asu is saying, what are some of your first riffs you learned to play or got you inspired?
Ooh. My very first riff that I learned on the guitar.
And you were young. You were like 8, right? Ish?
I was probably 8 or 9 when I picked up a guitar.
Yeah. And it was Back to the Future. Was it that one scene that inspired you? I thought you had mentioned.
Yeah, that was kind of the inspiration for me seriously playing guitar and asking
Yeah.
for guitar lessons and
Yeah.
everything. But before that,
Now,
I
you know
noodled
Michael
around.
didn't play those licks, right?
Sure he did. Don't tell me Ralph Macchio didn't play the guitar in Crossroads.
And all of it comes crashing
I
down.
know.
His dreams.
So the very first riff that I remember strumming out on my own was a Bruce Springsteen tune, and I can't remember the name.
Oh yeah, right. I'm driving in my car.
What song is that?
On the radio. I don't know. Yeah.
Like just that rhythm was
Yeah.
that was the
Oh,
first
Fire.
thing.
On fire. Something I don't know. I don't even
I
know.
was gonna say
Yeah.
it's not I'm on fire. It's
No,
a big-
no, that
Who-
was
who-
another
who
tune. That was
knows
another
song?
tune.
Someone's gonna know
Yeah.
that song.
Yeah. But that was your first. That was
Just
your
that
first
rhythm,
lick.
yeah. I'm like, oh, that's how you do it.
Yeah. And that felt good, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, I think some of the earliest actual songs were, a 1-4-5 medley,
Yeah.
Twist and Shout, La Bamba,
Right.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like one thing attaches to the next, attaches to the next.
You just
and-
kind of pick up stuff.
Yeah.
as you
I
go.
think, that's one of the disadvantages that a lot of folks have now, because I see the questions that come in all the time. And I feel like people have so much information that they're fearful of doing something wrong. When at the end of the day, you can't do anything wrong. It's absolutely physically impossible to do anything wrong with music. People, think that theory or something like that's binding them, and it's like, no, it's not. Theory is an explanation of what someone did, but it doesn't mean you have to do this. Your ear is going to tell you if you're playing a solo and you hear a note that might sound out. Well, you could also make it into something, right? If it's not in your scale. So it's all about giving yourself that liberty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a rule that, if you hit a wrong note, it's not a wrong note if you play it three
Twice.
times.
Yeah,
Twice.
3 times. Yeah.
I don't know if it's twice or I think it's
Yeah.
3 times is the rule.
Yeah, and I totally subscribe to that. What video? I think it might have been a video that I was watching of you or another player talking about the blues. Oh, who was it? It was such a good video. It was the other day. But basically, they were talking about notes that fell outside of the blues scale. Oh, it was Lynch. It was George Lynch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had a great video on that because he said basically everything that he does is just real elementary, which you wouldn't think that,
Right.
listening to him. But like everything that he does is real, just blues based. But he specifically would take one note out, and just like he would like hit those notes and wind them up,
Yeah.
and then he would slow it down. You'd be like, oh, okay, all right. But yeah, play it twice and figure out how to make that note work.
Exactly.
LG 4055 is saying, how does the use of a slide affect your thinking about scales and their use? So why don't you tackle that first
Okay,
part, and then
well,
we'll get to the second part.
when I play slide, I would say 90% of the time I'm playing in an open tuning, which means my guitar is tuned to an open chord. In this case, it's open E. Where if you play your guitar, right, standard.
Yeah, it doesn't sound quite as nice as yours. As
Right.
harmonious.
But if you play an E chord,
Right, there you go.
it's the same thing. So, that being said, it's great because I can place the slide over one fret and get mini chords, But it also messes you up because everything you learn in a linear fashion, like scales and everything, gets offset by this different tuning. So for me, it was kind of having to work my way around and relearn
Yeah.
scales or fragments of scales. Like I don't know if I could play like scales like I could in standard tuning on this. But you can, it's really about just sitting down and kind of using my ears and hunting for like, okay, if I wanted to make this a minor scale, it'd be like something like that or whatever. And just kind of
nice and slow, like learning that stuff nice and slow, so you go, I think people want to get it so fast that they think that any guitar player who's great has done that. And the truth is, there's zero guitar players that learn it that way.
Yeah, I mean,
or musicians. You have to learn, okay, that note does this, and I could bend this, or whatever. It's like little steps.
Yeah, I'm sure you could find online some sort of diagram that'll show you exactly where certain scales are in this tuning, or you could make it yourself. But I think it's probably more beneficial to use your ear and learn it on your own, because it's helping your ear training, and B,
you're gonna memorize it.
You're the one that's learning it
Yes.
from this point,
A
as
100
opposed to like staring at a diagram and
Totally
and
agree.
looking at dots and putting your fingers there.
Yeah.
So it's a little more, I don't know if you want to say visceral, to do it on your own and kind of hearing
Exactly.
the notes. So
Yeah, same thing, with standard tuning and playing without the slide is they learn the scales. I learned my scales, and then you got this scale and you sit there and you noodle through it as if you had a dictionary and you were speaking to someone. You're like, okay, and it sounds very sterile.
Yeah.
As opposed to just learning a lick or two that you're like, well, that works, and then you learn another lick or two, and then it just becomes your vocabulary, and you're playing all through the scales, but you're doing it from the most basic way that we learn, which is association. A child doesn't learn to speak by opening up a book. They know thousands of words before they're ever really reading.
Yeah,
you're
absolutely right.
And they're learning to speak. So if you do that with the guitar by learning licks or what have you, then it's going to come out in your playing.
That's the best way to learn is learning phrases and fragments first. I mean, people are so concerned about, I got to learn all the modes and all the positions and everything. And that's great, but that's not going to help you as a player.
Right.
And you made a good point about learning your first words and everything. You learn a word, and then you learn a phrase, and then you learn a sentence, and then you learn how to speak everything.
Yeah.
But it's not like you're given the dictionary.
Yeah. How would that help a kid? Wouldn't know what words worked with what, and so folks are doing that with scales, and they're like, well, I don't know what works.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
And it comes down to
yeah.
you have to learn how to be musical first. That's like the basis. The theory can come later if you want it to. It doesn't have to come at all. I mean, tons of great musicians don't know anything about theory. So if you're kind of daunted with so much information out there, just concentrate on parts of scales or scale fragments and learning phrases with 4 notes of that scale.
Yeah, and I'd love to clarify what it is that you just said there, because I know folks that I can literally hear folks at home going, yes, I don't have to learn theory. And here's the deal. What RJ means by that is they know the theory. Now, they don't know the theory. They're basically doing as if they knew the theory, but they can't explain it. So that's not very helpful.
Yeah.
It's like, it'd be great to be able to explain that to another musician, or to be able to, if you know that you got a particular sound in one song and you'd like to get that sound in another song, it'd be great to know what intervals you were hitting or whatever it was to create that emotion again. And if you don't know, you may be able to mimic it, and that's good, but the theory is just the understanding how you did something. That's all it is.
Yeah, I didn't learn theory until probably 6 or 7 years after I started playing guitar. So for me, it was more about just learning how to play music and how to play guitar. And then I was interested in like, okay, so why does this work over this chord, and why am I playing this, and what is this scale? Is this a scale or whatever? So it was more about being interested in why I'm playing the way I'm playing and where it comes from.
Yeah.
But for me, it was more about just being able to play first.
Yeah.
So I would say you can learn theory at the same time that you're learning how to play, but I wouldn't lose sleep over
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of learning it as you're going along. If you learn oh, Tom, thank you so much for the donation. Randall would smack your hand if he heard you say theory isn't necessary.
So Tom and I went to college together.
Okay.
So he's an old buddy from music school in the
Right.
University of Miami.
Nice.
And Randall was the head of the guitar department, and he was he was our guitar teacher.
Yeah, sure.
He taught me all about theory.
It's his job, sure. Love it. So the second part of that question was, for a 62-year-old beginner, do you have any encouragement?
Just have fun. Enjoy the music, enjoy the playing. It'll come to you. Don't be in a hurry, don't be in a rush. And this is for all players. Don't be in a rush to reach your goals immediately.
It's probably the number one thing that people need to hear is that. Just friggin' slow down and have fun with it. You know what you know. That's like someone...
It is fire. It was fire.
What's that?
It's not. It was fire.
Oh, it's
but it
fire.
wasn't.
Yeah. Okay.
I was
yeah.
thinking
Not I'm on fire. And I don't think it was.
Pointer
was it,
Singers. Pointer
was it Bruce
Sisters.
Springsteen?
I think Pointer Sisters might have done it first.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Or
Beautiful.
something.
All right. Okay. Nonetheless, so your first song was a Pointer Sisters song. That's interesting, RJ.
Neutron Dance.
The Neutron Dance. Oh, beautiful. All right, let's get to another question here, and then, or a check-in.
We can go back to the top for check-in. Let's see.
Oh, what was that? Is it beneficial? Is that one? Yeah, that's a good one. Is it beneficial to play other instruments if learning guitar, example, keyboard or piano? And do you play any other instruments?
Yes. In fact, my first instrument was piano when I was 6 years old. And then I moved to drums, and then I moved to guitar. So I had an understanding of different instruments prior to learning guitar. I think it does help. I did a video a couple of years ago about learning drums. All musicians should learn how to play the drums because the rhythmic aspect can help your playing. When I solo, sometimes I think like a drummer as far as my phrasing and syncopation of things. So that helps me. As far as piano, you do learn harmony. I'm a horrible piano player though. But you do learn a little bit of theory. Like I kind of had a small basis of theory from when I learned piano. I learned how to read music from taking piano lessons.
And piano is a great instrument to understand theory because you can see everything there, whereas on the guitar you have notes that replicate, and then you got this string that's tuned weird and everything else, and you're just like, ah. But on the piano, it's like literally all out in front of you. All the white keys are natural, and all the black keys are accidentals, sharps and flats. And so then you start seeing this, okay, in C major, I'm just playing all the white keys. Okay. And the key is G, I have a flatted sharp. So you can actually physically see all that, which is really helpful.
The intervals.
Yeah.
Laid
Actually,
out.
in my guitar course, I teach that sort of thing on the piano. And I say, here's the piano, here's why, and then go to the guitar, and it makes so much more sense,
Yeah.
You can just see it right there. Yeah. How long did you both suck at guitar before you were like, hey, I'm actually pretty
question.
good? It's a loaded question, yeah.
What's today?
What's today?
Man, if I'm being honest,
You never get there.
I would say at least 4 or 5 years before I felt confident to play out
Yeah.
and to jam with adults or something.
Yeah.
Maybe 4 or 5 years probably.
Yeah.
Because then, I started playing guitar when I was 9, 10. When I got to high school, I was getting more confident playing shows and playing with other people and
Yeah.
not worrying about what I was playing.
Yeah.
So
I came into it a little bit later. So I started when I was 14 and had discovered Def Leppard, and then all sorts of rock, Foreigner and Metallica. I mean, just name it, and I was just off to the races. So, but in 2 years, I had joined a band, and they had just fired a guitar player, and they were going into the studio. So, like within 2 years of me starting to play, I was in this band, and they were playing out. It was the first time I'd ever played out, and we were in the studio. So, two things I was deathly afraid of. And so I was just kind of thrust into it right away. But that I think was a moment for me where I was just like, oh, okay, well, I'm playing in a band and I'm recording, and like I really like that solo that I just, put down, and that was cool. And like hearing it back and having this like thing that I could listen to and go, okay, well, that's legitimate. I mean, it's not Randy Rhoads or whoever it was that I was listening to today. It's not Eddie Van Halen, but it's pretty good, and that's. But that bar is always moving, right? It's like we're never satisfied.
Yeah, you're right.
But there is a point, I think, when you start going, oh, I don't suck as bad as I did. I can hear my practice paying off.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's about confidence and just kind of being satisfied with where you're at, at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, without trying to make it. Yeah, I always compare it to dress rehearsals. It's like if you practice, for a play or whatever it is, come dress rehearsal day, you're as good as you're going to be. You're not going to get any better. So just step out on stage and suck if you need. If that's all that comes out, that's as good as you're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
One more practice is not going to help you. So you got to practice now. So all right, good. One more, and then we could do. Yeah, let's take another here. Do either of you have off days where your fingers won't cooperate and everything you try comes out sounding like relative junk? If so, what is your typical remedy?
I do have off days, but it's not necessarily a physical thing with my fingers. It's more about feeling inspired to play or to come up. Like I said, I improvise a lot.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll have off days where everything I'm improvising I'm not feeling it or whatever.
Just uninspired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
uninspired
that.
playing in general. Typical remedy is just to put down the guitar for the rest of the day. Because I've learned in my experience that when I come back to a guitar after a vacation or, just not picking it up for a couple of days, then that's when I'm really inspired and I'm like, oh man, I sound great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's in
and
it's
it
a mental
feels
thing.
good too.
Yeah.
To take a few days off and then come back to it.
So there's over practicing is like overtraining. You don't want to get to a point where your brain is so jumbled with information and it's not translating into your fingers. So a lot of times I'll just put down the guitar and not play. And that helps a lot.
And if you're still wanting to move the needle forward in your playing, you could always study theory on another. You could play another instrument. That'll inspire you, or literally just study theory. Learn how to read music, learn the mechanics of that, or learn the mechanics of the Nashville number system or the cage system or whatever. And you could literally learn this stuff by watching videos without necessarily having to have the guitar there. And then when you go to the guitar, you'll be like, oh man, I can practice this now, and that just opens everything up. I do that all the time.
I want to admit something to everyone. That opening solo that we jammed we did with me playing slide, I haven't played slide guitar in over 3 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably the last time you were on the show.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I might have noodled around at home like sometime over Christmas, but it's not something that I actively do daily, every day. So I was driving in here, I was kind of nervous because I'm like, I haven't played slide in a while. Let's see what happens. But I intentionally told myself, I'll just kind of get my bearings and find my intonation spots, you know? And then when we started jamming at the beginning of the show, I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So I felt inspired, and it's, I haven't played in so long. So I'm not saying don't play guitar for 3 months, but but even one day can help.
Yeah, indeed. Super cool. All right, let's take one more question, and then we'll do some rapid fires. Let's see here. I saw a good one. Eric, who was my Guitar, lots of cocaine. Eric, who was my guitar teacher? So I had a guitar teacher who hated every song that I brought to him because he also turned, well, I'll tell the story the right way here instead of backwards. But so, yeah, 14, just testosterone-filled teenage boy, you know, Ozzy and Metallica, and there's some classic rock thrown in there too. Constantly bringing these tunes to my classical guitar teacher, and he's like, oh no, God, yeah, he was so he hated all of it. And I'm like, dude, you got to teach me this solo. And then he would teach me the theory behind it. I'm like, oh, that's freaking amazing. It was I think it was the solo for what was it? Cold as Ice, right? Something like that, right? And he's outlining the chord, the minor chord there.
It's a great solo too.
Oh God, it's a killer solo. And I was like, oh my God, that blows my mind. He's like, it's just the minor scale, and he's working around the minor scale or the minor chord, and I'm like, thanks, a-hole. Like that's meaningful to me. Like he had already been like. Had been around the block, and it wasn't exciting to him anymore. But that's another reason why I love teaching, is that I get that feedback all the time, and I get to see people get so excited about that. But anyhow, that same guitar teacher, 2 years later, was it 2 years? Maybe like 4 years later, I took lessons from him for a while. And then went to another guitar teacher who was even stiffer than him, and he said that you had to hold your guitar like this.
But you're saying full-on classical?
No, but he was teaching me rock like this. And
oh, no.
And so I'm sitting here like this all the time, and then I went back in to Dave, my old guitar teacher, and I remember walking in and just doing, just preparing and practicing like I always practiced, and he's like, you've been studying with Dave Klausner, was the guy, or not Dave Klausner, something else. I forgot the other guy's name. And I'm like, yeah, and it was like this little hometown rivalry between the guitar teachers. Yeah. And then as I studied with him again some more, and then when I went to college, he was my classical guitar teacher.
Really?
And so then he was like, all right, now you're going to learn some stuff. And so we were learning like Carcassi and all sorts of etudes.
I remember I took classical in college for a semester because I had to.
Yeah. Did you not like it?
Well, I think for the same reason that you stated, where it was all about technique.
Feels a little stiff at first.
Yeah, it was just too. There's too much emphasis on technique.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we just play?
Yeah.
Can I just play the piece of music? You know? Like putting my thumb over the neck and all.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Oh,
like,
big no.
No.
Big no. Don't put your thumb over the top of it. Yeah, cool. All right, so let's do some rapid fire. We need to close it out here, but before we go, do not forget the links that we have below. We've got the sign up, the early bird sign up for RJ's pedal, which sounds great, by the way.
Thank you.
And it looks even cooler.
I love it.
So we also have the link for the new course for early sign up for that, and I believe that you're going to get some free vids with that as well.
Some licks, free licks.
And I'm telling you, the way that RJ teaches it, if you're here for RJ, then you know how he teaches and you know his abilities. If you haven't seen it before and you like the way that I teach, RJ teaches very step-by-step and very methodical as well. It's great. So, Thrash Metal, thanks for the guacamole phone. Yeah.
I love guacamole.
Which, by the way, that's me playing because we can't use the actual track.
So is it really?
So we pulled those from, like, I don't know, some Van Halen videos I did.
That's awesome.
Okay, rapid fire. As soon as my monitor comes up, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so here you go. All right, ready?
This is for me?
This is for you, bro.
It's not going to be rapid fire.
It's not that rapid. Top 3 favorite road trip snacks.
Pringles, cashews, bananas.
All right, nice. Oh, Pringles, right? Name one. I haven't had those in decades. Name one or two more iconic Filipino phrases and what they mean.
So I am not fluent in. It's called Tagalog, which is one of the dialects in the Philippines.
Were you born in the Philippines?
No, I was born in Detroit.
Yeah. Okay.
So one or two more iconic Filipino phrases. What if there's swear words?
Well, I suppose you could say it because there's probably not a lot of.
I don't know what they mean though. There's a phrase that my parents would always use is Putang in Amo,
Oh, that sounds really bad.
which probably
Hold on, your parents
translates.
would say this?
It's just a typical like
Right.
swear word, or
Okay,
not a swear word, but just
okay.
like, you know,
Right.
not dirtier than like that's not
Sure,
even dirty.
right,
Sous Mario
no.
soup is nothing.
That's actually-
Another one,
Pretty sacred.
Ka'ina, which means it's time to eat.
Okay.
They use that all the time.
Ka'ina.
Ka'ina.
Ka'ina. Well, it's Ka'ina time right now. So.
Yeah. Ka'ina.
Most memorable behind the scenes tour moment.
Oh God.
Oh, and on top of that, I've got another one for you, but go ahead. Yeah.
Memorable behind the scenes tour moment. There's a lot. Right off the top of my head, because it was filmed when I was touring with Ricky Martin, I spent my birthday. We were playing at a stadium not stadium, but an arena in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I think it was like 2 or 3 nights. And I spent my birthday there. And there's a tradition that when it's your birthday, you get a cake in your face. Well,
In Mexico or in the tour? On the tour?
whenever it was your birthday, wherever you are,
Yeah.
they were gonna put cake in your face,
Okay.
or give you a cake.
Right. Yeah. Sure. We
So-
know the routine.
1 hour before, 1 hour before showtime, and it's on YouTube somewhere. 1 hour before showtime, they gave me the cake,
Right.
and I went to blow out the candles, and Ricky Martin like pushed my head into the cake, and our musical director pushed the cake into my face.
No.
And then I had to take another shower right before showtime.
No.
And I had frosting in my nostrils, and all I could smell was frosting the whole show.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's on YouTube somewhere.
But it was Ricky, you know. With the actual
doesn't- he
shoving
didn't-
your face into
Yeah.
the cake is on
Oh, yeah.
YouTube. Nice.
He did it with everyone, so
I love that.
that's what you get.
What's one dream guitar or piece of gear you've had your eye on? You just bought it.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah?
gonna divulge what I
Okay,
just bought.
okay.
But one piece of gear, a '59 Tweed Bassman, has been on my radar for a while now.
Sure. Yeah.
And they're expensive. They're
They
like
are.
$9 grand, 10 grand for a good one.
Yeah.
But
But
I've
they
been going through
resonate.
this. Yeah, I've been going through this big Hendrix phase, and there's a guy on YouTube. I think his screen name is Millstap, but he's got a series of videos about Hendrix tone and everything. And he's got a couple videos where he's playing through a '59 Bassman.
Yeah.
And it sounds
Remarkable.
exactly
Really.
like,
Yeah.
which we associate Marshall heads and
Yeah.
stuff with Hendrix, but in
But
the
his
studio,
tone was really clean.
Yeah, in the
It was
studio,
really
it's
clean.
very easy
Did
to
you
run.
check that side here? Did you check that? I think I tagged you on it. It's on YouTube, but basically they took everything out of the mix except for Hendrix, and it's him playing.
I haven't heard
I
that.
have to show you that. I want to get your opinion on it because it's all over the place. There's great stuff, and there's stuff that's like, you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, okay, that's Hendrix. Wow, it's just intense. Okay, so the '59 Desert Island setup. This is not very rapid. Sorry.
That's okay. Sorry. Desert Island setup, pedal board, amp, guitar. Okay, pedal board, just my Mythos Sous Mario guitar, probably the matching Novo.
Which plays
It's great.
bonkers, and it's
amazing.
super
I
light.
should plug
Yeah.
it in. But amp, ooh, 59 Bassman.
Yeah. And someone's asking, what hair products do you use? I was actually going to ask you that. 'cause
Today,
your coif
it varies
is,
every day.
Yeah,
So
quite impressive.
it's pretty insane. I've got probably like a collection of 10 different tins of pomade,
Yeah.
and
I'm a big pomade fan.
I like to mix them.
Yeah. Oh.
Different,
Wow.
Different.
Impressive. Sure. Yeah, you're not
combination. It's a formula.
satisfied with just what's coming straight from the
Yeah.
factory. You're like,
So,
okay,
what am I using? Shiner Gold today is the name of the brand.
nice. It's very shiny. It looks beautiful.
That's gonna be on TVs.
9 Fathoms. Thanks. More bands should spit fire and blood like Kiss.
Awesome.
Indeed. And with that, we're out of here, my friends. Thank you so much. This has been a great show, RJ. Thank you
you.
so much for being here. Love
you for
you,
having me.
man. Love your playing. You're an amazing dude, and thank you for bestowing your knowledge on us.
I love coming here.
Yeah. Links below. Check out the pedal. Check out the course. Get some free vids there. If you would, please Share this with a friend. If you're not on Facebook, Twitter, and all the places where you can find us, you know what to do. Go there. And also, what do we got coming up? We got next week. Is Joe Robinson going to be here next week?
Yep.
Yeah, you've seen Joe, right?
He's so
He's a
badass. He's so
beast.
good.
Well, he will be here next week with all sorts of good stuff, and we got more vids coming this week. Just nothing super special, but yeah, we got more stuff coming. All right, out of here. See ya.